Can you live in a commercial property in Canada? Commercial properties are designated areas for commercial activities, therefore they're not intended to be used as living space. However, living in a commercial space can be possible depending on several factors, such as local zoning laws and the location. When looking to live in a commercial space, you have to consider your local zoning laws. These laws are used to designate certain sections of land for a specific use or mixed use and are mostly enforced by the city or local municipalities. Zoning is crucial to ensure proper planning of cities and towns and to protect the value of real estate. Without such laws, you may find churches or manufacturing plants opening up close to homes and schools. This can be a problem as issues such as noise pollution can arise, causing the devaluation of properties in such areas as nobody would be willing to live in such conditions. Types of zoning include residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, rural, historic, combination. This list is by no means exhaustive as zoning can be broken down further. You may find areas specifically zoned for apartments, park space, condos, bike routes, roads, etc. There's no specific answer as to whether you can live on a commercial property as the rules vary from city to city or town to town. If you have identified a commercial property you'd like to lease or buy, using it as a residential space will depend on several things. First, you'll have to apply to your local planning office for rezoning to convert the commercial space to residential space. This can be easily approved depending on the property's location. If the property is in a mixed-use zoning area or between commercial space and residential space, the approval may not be a problem. If the property is in a commercial use-only area, the approval process may not be so straightforward. Another thing is if the property is a commercial space, chances are it lacks essential amenities such as kitchen space, bathrooms, etc. So you would have to spend quite a bit of money retrofitting it. However, if you look for commercial property in a mixed-use area, it can be easier to find what you're looking for without going through the process of rezoning, especially if the previous owner was using it as a residential space. With the rise in real estate prices of both commercial spaces and residential spaces, many people in Canadian cities and towns have turned to live-work units. These are spaces that double as business space and residential space. Live-work units are mostly found in commercial residential zones where residential, commercial, and light industrial buildings coexist. These units include condos, converted warehouses and factories, etc. The local bylaws usually specify the types of business that can operate in live-work units, such as salons, fashion boutiques, tattoo parlors, lawyer offices, doctor offices, and barber shops. So make sure to check your local bylaws before setting up a business. Before leasing or buying a commercial property, you need to consider the amount of property taxes that the property accrues. Commercial properties are usually charged higher taxes compared to residential properties. If you're leasing, the rent may be higher because the landlord has to pay the higher property taxes. If you're living in a live-work unit, your property should be considered a residential property, so you would only have to pay residential property taxes. However, laws vary from city to city, so confirm first with your local government. When you change your principal residence to an income-producing property, such as a rental or business property, you can make an election not to be considered as having started to use your principal residence as a rental or business property. This means you do not have to report any capital gain when you change its use. If you make this election, you cannot claim capital cost allowance, CCA, on the property. Any income in respect of a property, net of applicable expenses, must be reported for tax purposes. While your election is in effect, you can designate the property as your principal residence for up to 4 years, even if you do not use your property as your principal residence. However, during those years, you have to meet all the following conditions. You do not designate any other property as your principal residence. You are a resident or deemed to be a resident of Canada. You can extend the 4-year limit indefinitely if all of the following conditions are met in addition to the above listed conditions. You live away from your principal residence because your employer, or your spouse's or common-law partner's employer wants you to relocate. You and your spouse or common-law partner are not related to the employer. You return to your original home while you or your spouse or common-law partner are still with the same employer, or before the end of the year following the year in which this employment ends, or you die during the term of employment. Your original home is at least 40 kilometers, by the shortest public route, farther than your temporary residence from your, or your spouse's or common-law partner's, new place of employment. If you make this election, there is no immediate effect on your income tax situation when you move back into your residence. However, if you change the use of the property again and do not make this election again, any gain you have from selling the property may be subject to tax. To make this election, attach a letter signed by you to your income tax and benefit return of the year in which the change of use occurs. Describe the property and state that you want subsection 45(2) of the Income Tax Act to apply. If you started to use your principal residence as a rental or business property in the year, you may want information on how you should report your business or property income. If so, see one of the following guides. T4002, Self-Employed Business, Professional, Commission, Farming, and Fishing Income. T4036, Rental Income,